Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Crack UPSC CSE English Prelims 2021 Crash Course Inspire. So, we are studying module Polity in our crash course. So, today we'll start with the amendment of the Constitution. So, already we have started learning few articles along with the our constitution as well. So now we'll start today with amendment of the constitution. Welcome to Unacademy, India's largest e-learning platform where you can subscribe various courses, where you will get daily life classes, structured courses, unlimited access for live and recorded classes. Along with that, you can evaluate your preparation with our live tests and quizzes. We 100 plus top educators will guide you throughout your preparation. So dear friends, join Unacademy today and download Unacademy Learning app. Alright, now it's me, Rushikesh Inamdar, having experienced more than 8 years to guiding UPSC aspirants. You can join our Telegram group using this link and you can follow me on Unacademy through this link. So guys, those aspirants wants to start their preparation with various courses or modules, we have 15,000 plus courses available on our platform. So, number of students asking about various modules like geography, Indian economy, we have all these modules along with polity, governance and IR, history, current affairs, science, technology, environment and ecology, and NCERT summary courses are there. So as per your choice, you can opt any courses. Yes, for this subscription, you can opt plus subscription and iconic subscription, where you can use code RBI Live to get 10% discount. So do not forget to use code RBI Live. Yes guys, those candidates wants to start their preparation with our plus subscription or iconic subscription. So subscribe today. Now, as you know about her Unacademy Combat, which is scheduled on Sunday 14th February in the morning 11 a.m. So we have provided link for the enrollment in description box. So you can use Combat use code RBI Live to enroll yourself. Where in this combat, what you will get? You will get ranking along with amazing prizes included 1 month subscription for UPSC CSE preparation. That is plus subscription. So hurry up and join today. Enroll yourself for the Unacademy Combat. Yes guys. So number of students asking about the new batches. So we are going to start new batches from 12th February. So 1 year batch, 2 years batch for the GS, NCERT batches, you can join these batches from 12th February. So start your preparation guys. Yes. Now, last but not the least about our combo courses. So you can opt these combo courses using code RBI Live to get 10% discount. Yes guys, use code RBI Live. Right, if you have any query, you can contact us. Yes, now we'll start with today's topic, that is amendment of the Constitution. Yes guys, so as we have studied various articles, and structure of our Constitution and few fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSPs. So we'll see today important part mentioned in our constitution, that is amendment of the constitution. Yes guys, now like any other written constitution, the Constitution of India also provides for its amendment in order to adjust itself to the changing conditions and needs. So in our day-to-day life we are facing various challenges. So these needs are, varies from day to day, right? So our constitution provides us this facility, we can say, or provision of amendment. So however, this procedure laid down for its amendment is neither as easy as in Britain nor as difficult as in USA, right? So we can say our Indian constitution is neither flexible or nor rigid, but a synthesis of both. So we'll see in details how it's, synthesis of this both. Now we can say Article 368. Just remember the guys, Article 368 in Part 20 of the Constitution deals with the powers of Parliament to amend the Constitution and its procedures. Yes, so this is the basic information regarding amendment which is deals with or mentioned in Article 368 of our Indian Constitution, which is mentioned under Part 20, right? Now it states that the Parliament may, in exercise of its constituent power, amend by way of addition, variation, or repeal any provision of the Constitution in accordance with the procedure laid down for the purpose. Which means the Parliament cannot amend those provisions which form the basic structure of the Constitution. Yes, already we discussed these basic features of our constitution through few lectures, and in future also upcoming lectures we'll see these details of basic structure as well. Now here you have to remember the point, that is the Parliament cannot amend those provisions which form the basic structure of the Constitution, which means this was ruled by the Supreme Court in the Keshwanand Bharti case 1973. Alright friends, so just remember these things, basic things about Article 368. Alright, now in the further we'll see procedure for amendment. Yes, so guys, the procedure for the amendment of the Constitution as laid down in the Article 368 yes, 368 article, that is an amendment of the Constitution can be initiated only by the introduction of a bill for the purpose in either house of the Parliament and not in the state legislature. So just remember here, an amendment of the Constitution of any provision or article, we can say, so any amendment bill, that is introduction of that particular bill, presented in either house of the Parliament, that is Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, but not in any state legislature. Okay, so this bill can be presented in the any house of the either house of the Parliament. Okay, just remember this point. Now next, the bill can be introduced either by a minister or a private member and does not require prior permission of the president. Yes. So the bill can be introduced either by a minister or by a private member and does not require prior permission of the president. Yes. Next point. The bill must be passed in each house, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, by a special majority, that is a majority of the total membership of the house and a majority of 2/3 of the members of the house present and voting. Okay. Yes. So the bill must be passed in each house, all right, by special majority, that is a majority of total membership of the house and a majority of 2/3 of the members of the house present and voting. All right, next, each house must pass the bill separately. So in case of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, so they must pass the bill separately in both houses. So in case of disagreement between the two houses, there is no provision for holding a joint sitting of the two houses for the purpose of deliberation and passage of the bill. Just remember the point, each house must pass the bill separately. And next, in case of disagreement between the two houses, there is no provision for holding a joint sitting of the two houses for the purpose of deliberation and passage of the bill. All right, next, if the bill seeks to amend the federal provisions of the Constitution, it must also be ratified by the legislature of half of the states by a simple majority. We'll see all those details in this lecture itself. That is a majority of the members of the house present and voting. So in this clause they mention a majority of the members of the house present and voting along with, and must also be ratified by the legislature of half of the states by a simple majority. Next, after duly passed by both the houses of parliament and ratified by the state legislature, when necessary, the bill is presented to the president for assent. So here is the procedure, right? So the particular bill, if we are taking example X bill presented in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, after that each house must be passed this bill. Then next we can say, in another condition, the particular, in case of amendment of the federal provisions along with these houses, that should be ratified by the legislature, that is state legislature, half of the states by a simple majority, and a majority of the members of the houses present and voting, that is in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Alright, so in a simple majority means in state legislature, majority of the members of the house present and voting. Right, now next, after the passing this bill, right, duly passed by the both houses of the parliament and ratified by the state legislature, this bill is presented to the president for assent. All right, now next, the president must give his assent to the bill. He can neither withhold his assent to the bill nor return the bill for reconsideration of the parliament. So in this procedure, the president must give the assent to the bill. He can neither withhold his assent to the bill nor return the bill for reconsideration of the parliament. Next, after the president's assent, the bill becomes an act. Yes. So dear friends, after this procedure and the president's assents, the bill becomes an act. An act, okay. Now, it means this particular bill is recognized as an act after the signature, or that is assent of the president, right? So that is a constitutional amendment act, and the constitution stands amendment in accordance with the terms of the act. So this is the procedure for amendment mentioned in the article 368. Yes. Next, we'll see types of amendments. Yes guys, now we'll see types of amendments. Yes, so article 368 provides for two types of amendments, that is by a special majority of parliament, and also though the ratification of half of the states by the simple majority. Alright, so in article 368 there are two types of amendments. One is special majority of parliament and another one is a simple majority of parliament, which means some other articles provide for the amendment of certain provisions of the constitution by simple majority of parliament. So there are different provisions can amend under the special majority of parliament, and few provisions can amend through a simple majority of parliament. Alright, now, so a majority of members of each house present and voting similar to the ordinary legislative process. Alright, now, these amendments are not deemed to be amendments of the constitution for the purpose of article 368. So just remember, there are two types of amendments basically: special majority of parliament and simple majority of parliament. Just remember these 2 points here. We'll see further types in next few minutes, right? Now, so there are three ways to amend the constitution. Yes guys, so we can amend our constitution by three ways, where first is simple majority of the parliament, second one special majority of the parliament, and third one amendment by special majority of the parliament and the ratification of half of the state legislatures. Alright, so these are the three ways where we can amend our constitution. Alright, now by simple majority of parliament, in first point, that is first way to amend by simple majority of parliament. Yes guys, so a number of provisions in the constitution can be amended by a simple majority of the two houses of parliament outside the scope of article 368. Yes guys, so these provisions include: first. Now, in simple majority of parliament, what is meant by simple majority, and which includes the types provisions, that is, under this simple majority of parliament, they can amend provisions includes first, admission or establishment of new states. Yes guys, so under article 368, and simple majority of parliament can amend provision like admission or establishment of new states in our Indian territory. Alright, so with this provision of simple majority of parliament, we can admit or establish of new states. Alright, next provision, formation of new states and alteration of areas, boundaries or names of existing states. So just remember here, with the simple majority of parliament, we can amend provisions related to formation of new states, alteration of areas, even boundaries of states as well, and names of existing states. So we can amend all those things using simple majority of parliament. Yes, next provision is abolition or creation of legislative councils in states. Yes guys, legislative councils. So we can create or we can decrease the number of legislative councils in states, right? It means abolition on creation of legislative councils under simple majority of parliament. Next provision is second schedule, that is second schedule of our constitution, which means emoluments, allowances, privileges and so on of the president, the governors, the speakers and judges, etc. can be amended through simple majority of parliament. Yes. Next, quorum in the parliament. Next provision, salaries and allowances of the members of parliament can be amended through the simple majority of parliament. Okay. Next provision is rules of procedure in parliament, that is, we can say norms and regulations or rules related to conduct day-to-day business of our parliament, that is rules of procedure in parliament. Next provision is privileges of parliament, its members and committees can be amended through this simple majority. Alright, next provision is use of English language in parliament. Yes, number of Muslim judges in Supreme Court, this provision can be amended using this simple majority in our parliament. Conferment of more jurisdiction on the Supreme Court. This is an important provision, we can say. Next, use of official language and citizenship acquisition and termination can be amended through simple majority of parliament. Yes, next provision, elections to parliament and state legislatures. Delimitation of constituencies. So here, delimitation of constituencies provision can be amended through simple majority of parliament. Yes. Next provision is related with the union territories and fifth schedule, that is administration of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes This provision can be amended with the simple majority of the parliament. And next is sixth schedule, that is administration of tribal area. So these are the few provisions can be amended through simple majority of parliament, which is mentioned in the article 368. So just we'll take a recap of these provisions. Yes, admission or establishment of new states, formation of new states, alteration of areas, boundaries, or names of existing states, abolition or creation of legislative councils in states. Second schedule of our constitution, that is emoluments, allowances, privileges of the president, governors, and the speaker and judges, quorum in parliament, salaries and allowances of the members of parliament, rules of procedure in parliament, privileges of the parliament, its members and its committees, use of English language in parliament, number of police judges in the Supreme Court, conferment of more jurisdiction on the Supreme Court, use of official language, citizenship acquisition and termination, elections to parliament and state legislatures, delimitation, yes, correct, delimitation of constituencies, union territories. Fifth schedule, next provision is fifth schedule, that is administration of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. Along with next provision is sixth schedule, that is administration of tribal areas. So guys, just remember simple majority of parliament. Using the simple or through simple majority of the parliament, we can amend these provisions through article 368. Yes. Now next is special majority of the parliament. Yes guys, so the special majority of parliament, which is the majority of the provisions in the constitution need to amended by a special majority of the parliament, that is a majority of total membership of each house and majority of two-thirds of members of each house to be present and voting. So just remember special majority of the parliament, that is total membership or members of each house and a majority of two-thirds of the members of each house to be present and voting. Alright, so the total membership means a total number of members comprising the house irrespective of fact whether there are vacancies or absentees. Alright, yes, so special majority of parliament, right? So the special majority is required only for voting at the third reading stage of the bill, but by way of abundant caution, the requirement for special majority has been provided for the rules of the houses in respect of all the effective stages of the bill. Yes. So we can say the special majority is required only for voting at the third reading stage of the bill, but by way of abundant caution, the requirement of special majority has been provided for in the rules of the houses in respect of all effective stages of the bill. Alright, that is special majority of parliament is required. Now, the provisions which can be amended by this special majority of the parliament by these ways includes the fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, the all other provisions which are not covered by the first and third categories. Alright, so with this special majority of parliament, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, and all other provisions which are not covered in the first and third categories can be amended. Alright, so this is the important point to be noted, that is special majority of parliament. Alright guys, yes. Next is special majority of parliament and consent of states. Now the third type is by amendment by special majority of parliament and consent of state. So those provisions of the constitution which are related to the federal structure of the polity can be amended by special majority of parliament and also with the consent of state, that is consent of half of the state legislature by a simple majority. So if there are any changes or any amendment related with the federal structure, there should be, or that federal structure can be amended by a special majority of the parliament and consent of the states, that is half of the state legislature by a simple majority. Yes guys, so if one or some or all the remaining states take no action on the bill, for example, we presented this bill into the parliament. Now third point, after this special majority in the parliament, second we need special majority, or after this special majority we need consent of the half of the state legislature by simple majority, state legislature. In case if any one few states or remaining state take no action on this bill, it does not matter. The moment half of the state give their consent, the formality is completed. If we are talking about, for example, few states is supporting that bill, few states not interested or they are not taking any participation in this consent process, then it doesn't matter of these few states. At the moment of half of the state give their consent, then formality is completed. Alright, so there is no limit within which the state should give their consent to the bill. So just remember the point guys, there is no time limit. For example, there is no any time limit for 1 month, 2 months, 10 days, 15 days or 6 months, 1 year. There is no any time limit within which the state should give their consent to the bill. Alright, just note down the point here. Next, so with this special majority of parliament and consent of half of the states, we can amend following provisions like election of president and its manner, that is election of the president of India and its manner. Next is extent of the executive power of the union and the states. Next is Supreme Court and High Courts. Distribution of legislative powers between the Union and the states. Goods and Services Tax Council. Any of the lists in the 7th schedule. Representation of states in the parliament. Right? Power of parliament to amend the constitution and its procedures. So, by the special majority of parliament and consent of states, we can amend these provisions like election of the president of India and its manners, extend the executive power of the union and states, Supreme Court and High Courts, provisions related to the Supreme Courts and High Courts, distribution of legislative powers between the union and the states. So we know this powers is related and mentioned in the 3 lists, right? So Goods and Services Tax Council, any of the lists in the 7th schedule of Constitution, representation of states in parliament, provisions related to the power of parliament to amend the constitution and its procedure, that is article 368 itself can be amended through this special majority of parliament and consent of state. So just remember these points, guys. Yes. Now, after these procedures, we'll see criticism of the amendment procedure. Yes. So as we know, we have studied all the topics like the procedure, basic information, and after that criticism of the particular topic. So today in this topic we'll see the criticism of the amendment procedure. Yes. Now, criticism of the amendment procedure. So critics have criticized the amendment procedure of the constitution on the few grounds, various grounds. So here we can study or this criticism, that is, first, there is no provision for a special body like constitutional convention or constitutional assembly for amending the constitution. So the constituent power is vested in the parliament and only in few cases in the state legislature. So as we have studied the way of amendment, that is 3 types, right? So criticism of the amendment procedure, where critics have criticized, the first point is that there is no provision for special body like constitutional convention in USA and or constitutional assembly for amending the constitution. So we can say the demand is that there should be a body or special assembly, that is constitutional assembly, for the process of amending or amendment of the constitution. So there is no provision of this type of bodies in our amendment procedures. Next criticism is the power to initiate an amendment to the constitution lies with the parliament. Alright. So the power to initiate or present any bill of the amendment related to amendment. So this power lies with the parliament only, which is Unlike in USA, the state legislature cannot initiate any bill or proposal for amending the constitution except in one case, that is passing a resolution requesting the parliament for the creation or abolition of legislative council in the state. So here also the parliament can either approve or disapprove such a resolution or may not take any action on it. Alright, next. Major part of the constitution can be amended by the parliament alone, either by a special majority or by a simple majority. Only in few cases the consent of the state legislature is required, and that too only half of them. So this critics is note mention that point. There are only few provisions, or in few cases consent of state is required, and also half of the total states, but they are connecting this loophole, we can say, with the USA. That is, they are saying in USA it is 3/4 of the states. Okay, so they mentioned and gave reference of the United States of America. Now, next critics is the Constitution does not prescribe the time frame within which the state legislature should ratify or reject an amendment submitted to them. So we can say, or here, which means they demanded for particular time frame, that is in particular days, that is 1, 10, 15, 20 days, months or years. So that is, they noted that our constitution does not prescribe the time frame within which the state legislature should ratify or reject an amendment submitted to them, right? So it is silent on the issue whether the states can withdraw their approval after according the same. It means there is no provision, okay, whether the states can withdraw their approval after according the same. All right, now next. There is no provision for holding a joint sitting of both the houses of parliament if there is a deadlock over the passage of a constitutional amendment bill, which means a provision for a joint sitting is made in the case of an ordinary bill. So critics said that there is no provision for holding a joint sitting of both houses of parliament if there is a deadlock over the passage of a constitutional amendment bill. So there was, we can say in other language, there was demanding, or they demand like there should be a provision of joint sitting in case of a deadlock over the passage of a constitutional amendment bill. And in same vice versa, we can say, in the other hand, a provision for a joint sitting is made in the case of an ordinary bill. If we are talking about a constitutional amendment bill, there is no provision of joint sitting, but in case of an ordinary bill, there is a provision of a joint sitting. Provision for a joint sitting. Alright, next. The process of amendment is similar to that of legislative process, except for the special majority. The constitutional amendment bills are to be passed by the parliament in the same way as ordinary bills. So this is a critics related with the process of amendment is similar to that of a legislative process. Alright, next, the provisions relating to the amendment procedure are too sketchy, hence they leave a wide scope for taking the matter to the judiciary. Right. So, as per the critics, they mentioned that the provisions relating to the amendment procedure are too sketchy. Right. So they leave a wide scope for taking the matters to the judiciary. Yes. So these are the few critics related with the amendment procedure. Yes. Yes, guys. Next, with this topic itself, that is criticism, with these defects, it cannot be denied that the process has proved to be simple and easy and has succeeded in meeting the needs and conditions. So, despite these defects, it cannot be denied that the process has proved to be simple and easy and has succeeded meeting the changed needs and conditions. Alright, so the procedure is not so flexible as allow the ruling parties to change it according to their whims, nor it is so rigid as to be incapable of adapting itself to the changing needs. So, as we have discussed or we pointed out, synthesis of both, that is flexible and rigid. So, this procedure is not so flexible or not rigid. Okay, so it means the ruling parties cannot change or amend easily, or it's not that much rigid, or that is these ruling parties are not, that is they cannot be changed, that is incapable of adopting itself to the changing needs. It means it depends on our parliament according to our need, so they can amend these provisions. All right, so one of the expert and jurist Casey Ware mentioned that, or he said that, strikes a good balance between flexibility and rigidity. So our article 368 is strikes a good balance between flexibility and rigidity. Alright, next. In the same context, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said in the Constituent Assembly that is, while we want this constitution to be as solid and permanent as we can make it. So there is no permanence in a constitution. There should be a certain flexibility. Right? So if you make any constitution rigid and permanent, you stop the nation's growth, the growth of a living, vital, organic people. So according to these experts, like we have seen Casey Ware has said that strikes a good balance between flexibility and rigidity in accordance with the amendment. And in the same context, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said in our Constituent Assembly that while we want this constitution to be as solid and permanent as we can make it, so there is no permanence in a constitution, there should be a certain flexibility. So at the need of our people or our country, we can change these rules, all right, with the process of the amendment. like next expert, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar observed in the Constituent Assembly that the Assembly has not only refrained from putting a seal of finality and infallibility upon this Constitution by denying the people the right to amend the Constitution, as in Canada, or by making the amendment of the Constitution subject to the fulfillment of extraordinary terms and conditions, as in America or Australia, but has provided for a facile procedure for amending the Constitution. Yes, so these are the observations from these experts. Yes, so next expert like Casey Ware has admired the variety of amendment procedures contained in the Constitution of India. He said the variety in the amending process is wise but rarely found. According to another expert, constitution expert, Granville Austin, mentioned that the amending process has proved itself one of the most ably conveyed aspect of the Constitution. Although it appears complicated, it is more merely diverse. Yes, so these are the few comments or observations by experts as well. So we have studied today the procedure to amend our constitution. After that, types of the amending our constitution, and next is criticism of the amendment procedure. All right, so these are the points to be noted or to be remembered with this chapter. All right, now in the next lecture we'll see remaining points to be covered in our crash course. So you can keep studying all these topics thoroughly. If you have any doubt, you can ask, and you can solve simultaneously. You can solve the question papers of previous years as well. Yes, guys. So till the time, like, share, and subscribe our channel, and you can join our Telegram group using this link. Yes, so friends, we'll meet tomorrow and we'll see next topic. All right, so till the time, keep studying, keep learning. All the best, and let's crack it.